Shaking up the monotony of our city excursion, we yielded to nature's call and headed off to the Moroccan countryside. The foothills of the high Atlas Mountains sounded appealing when suggested, and there was a unanimous yes. Join us as we stretch our legs, push our knees to the limits in the uplands of the high Atlas Mountains. Our town of choice was Setti Fatma, which was no choice of our own but proposed by the tour company. One should never underestimate the value of local knowledge. We agreed to their recommendation and we did not regret it. Setti Fatma is a small town and rural Berber community in the Al Hawza province in Marrakesh. At the time of its last census 20 years ago, it had a population of 22,283 people living in 3,503 households. It is nestled in the Ourika Valley. Setti Fatma is around 2 hours drive from Marrakesh, which makes it a popular destination for tourists. It's about 65 kilometers southeast of Marrakesh. The journey is equally important as the destination, so we enjoyed the experience. We passed through a few towns that made our drive colorful. These were different from Marrakesh as one could see the disparity between incomes. The further we drove, the more dramatic the views became. The flat landscape became mountainous and the more greenery we enjoyed. The best time to visit is early March when the cherry and almond trees are in full blossom, providing a spectacular backdrop. Alternatively, in August, there is a 4-day cultural festival with a fair and market at Kuba of Setti Fatma. We visited during summer and it was intense, bustling with activity with a lot of foot traffic. Our journey was broken up when we stopped at one of the local women cooperatives in Ourika Valley to look at various local businesses. This is one of the kitchen and guest room for their guests, where we are treated to a lovely cup of tea.
So this is argan oil pure for sensitive skin or skin problems. For example, eczema and psoriasis. And here we have argan oil with rose for face, for the dark circles, wrinkles, and also for acne. And we capture net to have this piece. So this piece we mix it by hand like this 2 or 3 hours. Every 10 minutes we put warm water for separate. So first shells for animals to eat. Thank you so much for your attention, and you can take pictures if you want. You can try this machine with Lazy also if you wanted.
We had a good chance to look around at their premises, and some of us made use of their toilet facilities as well. Lots of their products were from argan oil. Admittedly, these people are making full use of the local tourism industry, and it does empower the locals as well. I have never been shy to helping local businesses. We got back to the comfort of our van, and the next stop was Setti Fatma. As we approached the foothills of the high Atlas Mountains, there was a substantial change in the landscape. Lush green with flourishing trees, clear blue skies, and of course the high towering mountains. This was certainly a treat for the eyes. We stepped off our van, and all roads were leading to an open-air restaurant by Ourika River. Lunch was undeniably delicious. However, we were not adventurous enough to explore the local tagine. Our fare for the trip secured the services of this young Berber man with the names of Hassan. He was our guide through the foothills of the high Atlas Mountains, and for the next 3 to 4 hours our fate was in his hands. Crossing one of the bridges from the main street in Setti Fatma, it was rather a precarious crossing without any handrails, and it looked like health and safety was a thing of the past. The trek was rather deceptive, as it started off like a small footpath, and this gradually graduated into a steep scramble among the thick, jagged rocks. Surprisingly, it was famous and popular among the locals and tourists. The trek is heavily commercialized, with plenty of footpath side traders and medium-sized businesses along the way. The tree canopies provided much needed shelter from the scorching sun as we hiked up the rocks. I liked the makeshift drink coolers, which elegantly displayed various drinks. These were kept cold by the sprinkling water from what I suspect to be the stream from high up the mountains. Some of the paths were rather slippery, and our guide had to offer a helping hand to some of us. Interestingly, some of the folks were wearing flip-flops, and I believe they did not get the memo. Even with proper hiking shoes, this terrain was not your normal cup of tea unless you were a Berber youth. Looking down over the top to admire the jaw-dropping views encountered halfway through the hike. There was a time when I definitely needed help from Hassan when he pulled my hand to get up the slippery rocks. We finally arrived at the first waterfall. I'm not a great fan of masses, and the crowds were not to my delight. My attention was diverted onto the first waterfall, planning for an exit strategy. After a short break at the first waterfall, our guide pulled off a hat trick. Taking a concealed small route unknown to the general public, he led us to a steep path made up of improvised piles of rocks. This led to another small refreshment bar at the top of the climb. Getting on all fours was at times inevitable. The climb quickly spiraled into a very dangerous climb, but there was no sign of weakness to be displayed, as everyone in the group was on the upward. The views were breathtaking. We got to the next level. My initial thoughts were, we have to do this again, which sounded daunting on reflection. Having to take a loop round made it more exciting, as we had new grounds to explore and probably less of the slippery descent. Normally, going down would be much more faster and easier than going up. This was rather a different experience. The rough terrain was plotting to bust our knees as they took the brunt of our body weight on the descent. To my left was the route to proper mountain climbing to the summit of the high Atlas mountain. This would take up to 4 days of proper climbing. According to folktale, Setti Fatma town got its name from Setti Fatma, who was the daughter of a respected local scholar back in the days. She was a renowned teacher and philanthropist who built homes for orphans and the poor. And as a trusted figure in her later years, she would help settle personal and tribal disputes. I eventually had clear views of the mountains. From an advantage point, I slowed down. Nature allowed me to marvel at this amazing landscape. Under the scorching sun, I eventually made my way to the foothills of the mountains. Some of the aqueducts that have been used for irrigation. After bidding farewell to the mountains, we returned to the bustling town of Setti Fatma. We joined our beloved van, ready to embark on our journey back to Marrakesh. Many thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe. Until next time.